Have you ever hit that point where you just stop and ask yourself, what am I really doing with my life? It's a feeling that often creeps in right when a big birthday's around the corner. But what if the answer isn't about finding a new job or a new passion, but about passing a secret test? Today, we're going to dive into a fascinating Korean philosophy that completely flips the script on life's challenges. And this whole thing started because one man was searching for his purpose. So picture this. There's this 39-year-old guy, right? He spent nearly 2 decades, 18 years, living and working outside of Korea, in places like China and Malaysia. He's seen the world, he's done the work, but now he's back home, and he just feels lost, totally adrift. He can't find any new motivation, no reason to really plug back into society. He's at a massive crossroads, and he's looking for a sign, any sign. And, this isn't just a practical problem, like finding a new career. This is hitting him deep down. He's starting to question everything, looking back at his entire life and wondering, did I not try hard enough? Was I just wrong? It's that awful, sinking feeling of self-doubt that I think we can all recognize. That little voice in your head that whispers, maybe you took a wrong turn somewhere. But the answer he gets is not what he expected at all. Nobody gives him a 5-step plan or some simple career advice. Instead, he's told that his real journey, the most important part of his life, hasn't even started yet. He's told he's standing at the starting line of a decade-long test, a profound evaluation that kicks off the very moment he turns 40. Okay, so what on earth is this test of the 40s? What is this mysterious evaluation all about? Well, to really get it, we need to quickly look at a little bit of cultural context. This is where it gets really cool because it all revolves around the number 4. Now, in many Western cultures, 4 is just 4. No big deal. But in Korea, the word for 4 sounds almost identical to the word for death. But this philosophy completely reclaims that idea. It says your 40s are not about an end or a death. Nope, they're about a defining test of everything you've become up to that point. So here's the bottom line. The test of the 40s is a 10-year-long performance review from what the source calls nature. You can think of it as the universe or just the way things are. And its whole purpose is to see if all that wisdom you thought you picked up in your 30s actually stuck, or were you just kind of nodding along? It's basically the final exam for the first half of your life. And get this isn't just some pop quiz that life throws at everyone. According to this philosophy, it's specifically for people who are destined to be leaders, or what they call hangik ingin. This is a traditional Korean idea that refers to people who live to widely benefit all of humanity. So this is a special test for those with a much bigger mission. So how does this test actually work in the real world? I mean, what does it look like? Well, it's not an academic exam. You don't study for it. The test is all about how you handle the friction of everyday life. This quote really gets right to the heart of it. Any environment must be digested. That is true skill. Think about that word, digested. It's not about avoiding problems or building walls around yourself. It's about your ability to actually process adversity, to take it in without letting it poison you from the inside out. And here's the playbook for how to digest things. It's a 4-step process. First, boom, a challenge pops up. Step 2 is crucial. Just observe your own raw gut reaction. Do you lash out? Do you blame someone else immediately? Then comes the hard part, step 3. You have to look inward and ask, what does this whole situation reveal about me? And only after you've done that can you move to the final step, responding with wisdom, not with your raw ego. And these tests aren't these huge, dramatic events. They're happening all the time, in the most ordinary situations. Your kid is throwing a tantrum and pushing all your buttons. Do you meet that chaotic energy with your own anger, or do you digest the moment and find a wiser way? Some stranger is rude to you at the store. Do you escalate it, or do you just let it pass through you? When money gets tight, is your first instinct to blame the world or to look for the lesson? This brings us to the stakes, because this isn't just a neat philosophical exercise. According to the source, the results of this decade-long test have very real, very tangible consequences for your life. So what really happens if you pass, and what happens if you fail? The way it's described, the outcomes are like 2 completely different paths for the entire second half of your life. Okay, so let's say you pass. You spend your 40s really learning how to digest adversity, proving that you've learned your lessons. The reward is that the universe essentially gives you the keys to the kingdom. Everything you need for your life's mission starts to appear. The right people walk into your life, the money you need shows up, the resources just become available. But if you fail, if you spend that decade just reacting with your ego, blaming other people, and creating conflict, the consequences are severe. Things you've already built can be taken away from you. Good relationships, even with family, can be broken. You're basically seen as unready to handle the power and responsibility that comes with a bigger purpose. And that's because, in this philosophy, your 40s aren't even the main event. They're the final preparation, the training ground. The real purpose, the actual work of your life, that's meant to begin at age 50. So, what's this all for? This really intense, decade-long test isn't just about your own self-improvement. It's tied to a much bigger picture, something historical and even spiritual. According to the source, there's been a huge shift in how humanity works. Back in Korea's Sozon era, lifespans were way shorter, and only the educated elite were really considered to be on a leadership track. But now, in our modern world, we live much longer, and pretty much everyone gets an education. So the game has changed. Now everyone is being raised and tested to be a potential leader. And the ultimate goal of this whole test is to fulfill that Hongik Ingon ideal we talked about, to become a person whose very existence benefits all of humanity. The test of the 40s, then, is to see if you have the character required to actually wield that kind of positive influence without messing it up. So how many people actually pass this test and go on to fulfill their mission? According to this philosophy, the speaker gives a very specific and honestly kind of startling number: 30%. That's right, just 30%. And the stakes here are, well, they're cosmic. This worldview says that this 30% who complete their mission will also resolve all their karma and achieve a kind of spiritual liberation. They supposedly won't need to come back to Earth for another life. So this test isn't just for this life, it's for your soul's entire journey. And this brings us right back to that 39-year-old man and his big question. The final message for him and for all of us is actually one of empowerment. The difficulties we face in our 40s aren't punishments. They're opportunities. They're like diagnostics, designed to show the universe exactly what kind of support we need to fulfill our ultimate purpose. This philosophy basically reframes all of life's struggles as a curriculum that's custom designed for our own growth. So it leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. If you look back at your own life through that lens, what was the biggest test you've ever faced, and what do you think it was trying to teach you?